Hey, it's Alex from Inspire Beats. This is the most important things we learned about sales after sending over 250,000 emails. Um, I'm Alex Berman. I've been Chief Marketing Sumo at Inspire Beats recently. And if you don't know what Inspire Beats is and you don't know why we've been sending out 250,000 emails, Inspire Beats basically fills up salespeople's pipeline. So we do all of the lead generation, prospecting, and appointment setting for, it's got to be hundreds of clients now. A lot of software as a service companies and other funded startups. But we've also worked with agencies and all of these other verticals as well. Um, but working with all these clients and doing outbound sales for them has led us to sending uh, it's thousands of emails a day now that we're sending out, and we've got some takeaways to share with you. So let's jump into it. Number one. Oh, before we jump in, actually, there is a free email course that I'm going to pitch at the end of this. Um, so if you want to sign up for that, that's good. There's also a sign up bonus if you if you figure out that you want to use Inspire Beats. So that's all going to be at the end of this presentation. And for now, let's jump into it. So, point one, subject lines matter, but the preview text matters just as much. So a lot of people, I know there are a few, just a name call, there are a few HubSpot case studies that are talking about the best subject lines to use. And there are a bunch actually from Scott Britton's course and a bunch of other sales courses that are all talking about like optimizing the subject line, which I'll tell you how to do that in the best subject lines we've used soon. But we've also found that the preview text works almost as well in terms of getting a higher open rate than the subject line. For example, if you're on your Gmail, right, you can see not just the subject line, especially if it's just 2 or 3 words, but you can also see like a sentence or two of the actual email before it starts. And we found that some people will have like a great subject line, like "Open me now," like some kind of sketchy subject line, and then they'll be like, "I am a salesperson for XYZ," or they'll start with "I," or they'll use the wrong first name, or things like that. I'm a sales executive from, GE. That's the first line, and the open rate just plummets because they can see that. They can see that. So the preview text actually matters, and I'll talk a little bit more about what to actually write in that preview text in a second. So here's a quick sidebar: how to improve your cold email subject lines to maximize your open rates. So when it comes to finding a good subject line, it's important that you know who you're reaching out to. You also don't want your subject line to be misleading. You have to put yourself in the prospect's shoes and think about what they would like to see in a subject line. For example, if you're reaching out to a CEO or founder of a company, it might be smart to include something good about their company in the subject line, because that's what they want to hear. Whereas a regular engineer might feel delighted if you're talking about a feature they were working on the project. Get in their shoes, figure out what they want to hear, and then throw that in the email. Especially if it comes from the heart, if it's sincere, right? If it's a sincere compliment, it's going to do really well. At the end of the day, it comes down to doing your research and understanding who you're reaching out to, the prospect. The next step is personalize the subject line as much as possible. The subject line that converts most are the ones with some sort of personalization in them, including the person's name works really well and shows that it's not just some regular spam mail. For example, if you're reaching out to a content marketer or some sort of VP of marketing, "Hey, Alex, really love the new post about content marketing. Really love the new post about how to get links from influencers." That's a powerful subject line. Another example, if you're reaching out to a CEO, would be, "Hey, Mark, congrats on the new funding round." Or even, congrats on the CTO hire, or just some thing about the news that shows that you know who you're talking to, right? Most salespeople, and I'm sure you've done this too, I've done this, our whole team has fallen into this trap before, because it's easy. It's very easy on the surface to send out a robotic email that says like mobile app developers, or like just no subject. That HubSpot thing I was talking about earlier quotes no subject as having the highest open rate. And it does, but response rate's down. The more personalized you get, the more responses you get, and everyone knows it, but very few people put it into practice. So if you can become one of the only salespeople in your company that's putting this into practice, or even if you make your whole team do it, you can become one of the only companies in your industry that's doing this. Customize your stuff, guys. Customize. Don't be a robot. So these subject lines will usually get a strong amount of open rates because it's personalized. It also shows you did your homework and did your research. And even if you just spent 2 minutes, that's more homework than everyone else is doing. Most people are just hitting one button. So, low open rates. This is the other side of the coin. There are a lot of subject lines that we tested with low results. The ones that are really generic or seem like an email newsletter usually result in a much lower open rate. For instance, working together with company. Company being your company name. Working together with General Electric. I'll use them again. The subject line above is one of the ones that yields a much lower open rate because it seems spammy and it's not personalized at all. Another one that we tested was best deal for General Electric. Again, it's a subject line that doesn't work well at all. Doesn't it kind of sound like one of those e-commerce email newsletters that you never open? Like things from Amazon, best deal for Alex, best deal on clothing, like just random subject lines that no one's going to open. So that best deal for General Electric didn't work. The other one that I wanted to rant on for a second are misleading subject lines. Spammers use this all the time, but I've also seen salespeople fall into this trap. So there are a lot of subject lines you can use that will get a person to open the email. It's important to note, a lot of subject lines. But you want them to open with good intention and not because the subject line is mysterious or forcing them to open it. That's why the content of your email is extremely important as well. Back to the first point. You don't want to write a long sales template into the email, especially if it's just copy-pasted with a misleading subject line. You almost always want to keep the email as short as possible and as direct as possible. Avoid all sales templates if you can. So here are some examples of subject lines that will get you a high open rate but might result in a low response rate. Important with an exclamation point. This actually comes to our inbox a lot, especially in the spam box. And guess what? They result in extremely low response rates. One company emailed us with the subject line important, and we opened it, and it was a long sales template for SEO. I'm sure you've seen this in your own inbox. I get them for like web development companies and all sorts of BS. Another one to look at is, hey Alex, must read with 3 exclamation points. When someone sees this, chances are they're going to open the email, but will it get them to convert? Will they respond to something that's like, hey Alex, must read, and then it's a 8-page pitch on SEO services? Probably not. Why would they? Most likely not, especially if you're trying to sell something. So the prospect might end up feeling more frustrated rather than sold. And if they ever get an important email with like 15 exclamation points for real, they're more likely to ignore it. So if their family dies and someone sends them that kind of message and they don't open it, that's on you for being a scammy salesperson. So thanks for hurting that guy's life. All right, next one, subject lines with introductions. So the highest converting subject lines that we found have introductions in them. Name introductions, especially. Including 2 names in a subject line will almost always result in an open, assuming you have high quality leads. So something like came across General Electric through Mark Ruffalo. I gotta watch the Avengers again. Mark Ruffalo is so awesome. Came across General Electric through Mark Ruffalo. This one works really well, but it does take some time for personal research. The best way to do this is to use LinkedIn, search a company, look for a mutual connection, and add that person to the subject line. That's actually a nice little hack for you. It's always best to ask the person for a direct introduction. But if you don't have time to do that, you're sending 50 plus cold emails a day, It's just easier to quickly browse through LinkedIn, see who you have in common, and then craft a personalized subject line based on that for your cold email. Especially if you don't know the person very well, came across General Electric through your name is a nice little sneaky way to get around that. The follow-through content for the subject line is also super important. So for the introduction line in the email context, you might want to put something along the lines of, hey, I was browsing around LinkedIn and saw that we have a mutual connection with Mark. I went to college with her, or whatever your connection is. That way, you're being super open. You're not pretending it's a direct introduction, but you still got the benefit of a direct introduction to have them open the email. So that brings us to quality of leads. So with any subject line, it's important that you have quality of leads and accurate contact information. You can cold email 500 people with personalized subject lines, but it won't get anywhere if the lead information isn't accurate. If they don't want your crap, or you have the wrong names, or you have the wrong titles. You can email 500 people. It could be the best email you've ever sent in your life, but it's not going to be relevant and it's not going to turn into buyers. So you also want to ensure that the leads are high quality. Does the person you're emailing match your buying profile? Is it the type of person that will tell themselves your service or product is what they want? If so, send the email. If not, it's not even worth contacting them. So that actually segues really, really nicely into point number 2 of the most important things we learned about sales, which is research into each individual prospect. So most people will use something like LinkedIn Sales Navigator when it comes to researching, which is an excellent tool and it does work. But you have to do more than that. Look into their personal blogs, their company blogs, social media history, LinkedIn board activities. Try to learn as much as you can about the person you're reaching out to. And again, that's stuff that we've all heard before, right? Do research. But for each email, right? Let's say you have to send 50 emails in a day, or 60 to make the math easier. If you just spend 2 minutes browsing around on Twitter for each email, that's 60 times 2, so that's 2 hours you have to spend on your emails to get an insanely high open rate and response rate. 2 minutes on each one, right? Personal blog, company blog, social media history, LinkedIn board activities. That's 4 things. You can knock each one of those out in 30 seconds. Try to learn as much about the person you can try to learn as much about them as you can. So the most important thing you want to research into is their buying process and their current struggles. If you can craft an email or engage in a call where you have the prospect nodding their head the entire time, it's pretty much a done deal. And the way to do that is to look through the prospect's blog posts to notice some of their pain points and then think about how your product can solve their problem by using their own words. The more personal and targeted your engagement, the more successful it would be. Let me say that one more time. The more personal and targeted your engagement, the more successful it will be. For example, let's say you're in a software as a service company and you're selling real-time polling to news magazines. If you're lead generating, right? So you're prospecting. Let's say you want to find news magazines that have polls on their website already. Done. I would also add they have polls on their website, but they don't have an internal, they're not building an internal tool. Maybe they're using some other service that you can replace. If they don't have those 2 things, don't send out an email. And that's their pain point right there, especially if you can find a comment on the blog complaining about the polling on the site. Like if you can find someone saying like, this poll sucks, you can just put that right in the email. They know it's a problem, and there's your pain point right there. So that was point 2. Point 3, number 3. Always include something actionable at the end of the email. Again, this is refresher stuff, right? This is stuff that everyone says you should do. But you'd be surprised how often, even if you go back and read your own emails, how much you're missing it. So we've tried a lot of things. What most people think works didn't work for us. For example, we noticed that we received a much lower response rate when we put learn more about our product by going here, inspirebeats.com, just at the bottom. Apparently that didn't work well for conversions for us. What worked better was saying something like, would you be interested in using InspireBeats to fill your pipeline? Question mark. Would you be interested in using InspireBeats to fill your pipeline? Yes. Yes. And then we send more info. Would you be interested in using our company to put real-time polling on your website? Yes. Or no. But if it's no, that's good. Then you know they're not interested and you can move on. More often than not, we would give the prospect more details about the product and then forget to leave something actionable at the end of the email. That's throughout the pipeline. So this first email, it's good. Most people are able to get that, would you be interested in using the product, or having some kind of takeaway at the end of the first email. But you want to make sure every single email in your sequence in quotes because it's all totally customized, has something actionable at the end, has some takeaway. We learned that you should always include something actionable. This could be something basic like scheduling a call or having the customer sign up right away. Just make sure not to forget it. Every single email, something actionable. Number 4, following up with a phone call after an email response is best. This is also something that very few people do. So, we noticed that following up with a phone call within a few hours of receiving the initial response is extremely effective. Most of the time, people leave their phone numbers in their signatures, or some people also reply with, let's discuss this over the phone. And we noticed that we can close a lot more deals by calling them as soon as we receive a response. This also works really well. I know we're talking about outbound and sending emails. This also works really well if your marketing team is sending you sales qualified leads, or you're getting leads from Marketo or from MailChimp or anything like that, or even leads after webinars. If anyone sends you a chat message through your website, if you call them immediately, you'll be able to close them way faster. I know I've closed a few clients that probably would have taken like months to close over emails just because they were so busy, and it's hard to find time on the calendar. But since we were already on the phone together, they were able to just make the decision right then and jump onto the platform. Also, they really needed leads, so that helped. So it's also important to call at the right time zone, and that's why we like to wait. So you can either call immediately or you can wait a few hours, because the prospect might not be available at that time. So sometimes when people are pounding out a bunch of answers to emails, they like to block their time. So they're like, from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. I'm going to be answering emails. So if you call them at 3:30, right? If they answer your email at 3:29 because they're in this email block, and you call them at 3:30, they're not going to answer because they're answering a bunch of emails. But if you wait till 4:30, then you can get through. So the more you know about their habits, the better. But yeah, we've had good luck assuming an hour after they respond they're going to be available. It's also why it's important to research deeply into the prospect before the initial outreach, so that you know how to engage with your prospect during all phone calls and emails. All right, I wanted to throw a sidebar in here about using the right information. I've gotten too many freaking cold emails with the wrong information in them. So one of the first steps to making an email sound more personal is by using the correct info. Basic stuff, guys. Make sure the person's name is correct, their company role is correct, and any other information you plan on including in the email is right. Here's a strange example. So, for example, we reached out one time to a prospect whose real name was like A-H, but her friends call her Annie. And we noticed that because we looked at her social media, and people were calling her Annie on there, on her Twitter. So we reached out to her with Annie, right? We didn't reach out to even though that was what her profile said it was. She was so surprised that we knew her name, that she complimented us for the personal touch. And if it wasn't for that, I'm not sure whether we would have received a response at all. So if you get an email and it's Michael at something, Michael at inspirebeats.com, but you Google it and everybody calls him Mike, start the email with Mike. That also goes the other way. Sometimes they're Mike at inspirebeats.com, but they actually go by Michael. Or sometimes they even go by like Jeff or Simon or some other weird name. So yeah, as part of your researching, look at that too. See if there's some other nickname you can call them. That's not a weird nickname like Buffalo or something. I've never known anyone whose name was Buffalo, but now that I said that, I feel like that'd be a good name. So if you name your kid Buffalo, uh, you can pay me a commission on that. Okay, so listen. Number 5 is listen to the metrics and keep on testing. So we're testing new things every single day. I come from a marketing background, and I know that testing is the key to success. Right? So listen to metrics and keep on testing. Even if it sounds like the most ridiculous idea to test, just do it anyway. You never know the outcome until you've tried. I know a lot of people that have written off event marketing, right? Or people that have written off um, even asking for a call in an email, right? Some people are like, I was reading a story actually about Yelp, some cold callers over at Yelp, and they have like a company credo, which is no deals are closed over email. So it's always like get them on the phone as soon as possible. But there was a blog post written a while ago by one of the Yelp people that was only closing deals over email. So totally opposite of the company's ideals, but they were able to make it work. And they wouldn't have made it work if they weren't too lazy to get on a call with prospects, right? We actually also have another client over here at InspireBeats that we're able to close emails or close companies for his free trial to his software as a service app just through email. And it's because he didn't want to hop on calls either. So constraints and testing things is very effective. So both of those are examples of ridiculous ideas, like things that people might write off. Like, oh, of course you have to hop on a call for a enterprise level product, right? You can't just do that over email. Events suck. Why would I ever go to those, right? Like that's a horrible way to do lead generation. Both of those, if you didn't test them for your specific company, you might not know if they were false or they were true. So you might be missing out on things. You never know the outcome until you try. And I'll add a little caveat on that. You never know the outcome until you try for this specific product and this specific industry. Everything's different across industries, and everything's different actually for each new hire, especially at the VP level and above, VP and director level. So we've used some of the most goofy email context ever. And believe it or not, those are the ones that saw the highest response rates. Even though it's business, you don't always have to be serious. Your prospects have a sense of humor too. We have one of our clients that every time he goes to an event, he'll take a picture of the speaker and tweet it to them. And he's been able to close a bunch of deals just by taking just when the speaker responds and then just going back and forth on Twitter. Your prospects have a sense of humor too. Don't be afraid to keep it loose, keep it funny, because people don't want to work with robots. They want to work with people. If they wanted to work with robots, they just build some robots, right? So, number 6, always follow up. Always follow up. Again, easy stuff, guys. Base level stuff. It might sound annoying, but it works, and I can vouch for it. Persistence totally pays off. So we try to make all our follow-ups as personalized as possible also. But you got to go for at least 5 or 6 emails. I usually do one on the day of, then a phone call if they respond, maybe a phone call a couple days later, then another touch point the next week. I usually do another email like 2 weeks later, then a month later. And just basically, then I put them on an autoresponder or whatever. Auto reminder, not autoresponder. All the emails are custom. Auto reminder, so I can push an email out to them once a month. Basically, keep emailing people until they tell you to die, until they tell you to go away, because you never know when the need's going to pop up for your service. Somebody might not need a mobile app development company right now, but in 3 months, when their CMO gets fired or their CTO wants to scale out a team, they might love to talk to a mobile app development firm, and you're the one who's emailing them every month. So you're the guy. It's a no-brainer to go with you. Also, we try to make our follow-ups as personalized as possible. Because again, email templates, roboting people to death is it's horrible. Horrible. Some people pronounce that word horrible. I say horrible. So sometimes people are just too busy or they missed your email. No response doesn't mean a rejection, and it just means they're usually too busy, and that's when the power of following up kicks in. If most of the people on your team or in your industry are following up 5 times, you should follow up 12 times. If most people are following up with emails, you should follow up with phone calls. Do something different and keep getting in front of your people as much as possible. You can use an automated tool for following up, but again, we suggest not to use one. Robot emails work way, way less than regular emails. So use something like Boomerang or followup.cc to remind yourself to follow up. And that is the webinar. Those are the most important things we learned about sales after sending over 250,000 emails. So, to recap. 1. Subject lines matter, but preview text matters just as much. 2. Research into each individual prospect. 3. Always include something actionable at the end of every email in your sequence. 4. Follow up with a phone call after an email response is best. 5. Listen to the metrics and keep on testing. 6. Always follow up and keep following up. And that's it. So here are the 2 bonuses. Number 1, we developed a course on selling, basically going over this stuff in the webinar even deeper. We want to make sure your pipeline's filled up. We want to make sure your sales guys are as effective as possible. So this course goes over what to put in a cold email, how to do outreach, how to do lead generation, some APIs you might not know that you can use, some services you might not know that you can use, how to outsource part of your lead generation efforts, how to talk on the phone, like what kind of questions you should ask prospects. Basically, we want to make sure, we know you can sell, right, or you wouldn't be here. We want to make sure you're selling as effectively as possible. You're leveraging your time as effectively as possible. So check out that course. The other one I wanted you to check out is inspirebeats.com. If you have a bunch of sales guys sitting around and you feel like they should be calling people or emailing people, but you don't have leads, or you've had a hard time finding qualified leads, check out one of our packages. We do lead gen for software as a service companies and agencies. We fill up your salespeople's pipeline. If, however, you're more of a small company, maybe you're a founder or a VP of sales, and you don't want to do cold email anymore, maybe you're over it, we do that also. We do outsource cold emails, outsourced in quotes because all of our guys are based in San Francisco. You can come check out our office if you want. But we send emails on your company's behalf and get your VPs into meetings. So all they have to do is pick up the phone and pitch. Very, very simple. So go to inspirebeats.com, sign up, or go back and sign up for the course. Either way, it was great talking to you guys, and I would love to do it again soon. My email is alex@inspirebeats.com. Feel free to send me any questions you have, and I'll talk to you later. All right, guys. Take care.